Hi, my name is Anthony Douglas, and this is String Theory with Anthony Douglas, and I am your host. At any rate, we have put the strings on the first neck, which is going to be the C6 tuning. And we have the correct gauge of strings, and now we're going to have to tune this thing up. So put on some picks here and get started. Boy, that's tight. Oh. My word. Whoa. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it is always a concern that the string is going to go pop because and bust right in half because pedal steel and straight steel strings are very tight. We tune them pretty high. Letting it break in. You can see how heavily everything is torqued. and that's pretty close. So we definitely have a C6 tuning going on here. Now we're going to get a chord and plug this thing in. And put it through a Fender twin reverb and see what we got going. Now I have played this thing on the stage before. And when I'm playing it on stage, I like to have my pedal steel guitar present because I sit and I play that and we get into a lot of different chords and a lot of different bendings and stuff. And I also like to have this standing up straight so that when I have another instrument like my fiddle, or violin or fiddle, and I have my lead guitar, something like, my Stratocaster, I can just walk right up to it and start playing. There's a cat out there, his name's Junior Brown, and he has what is called a git steel, and at the end of it he's got something like one of these necks, plus he's got a Telecaster, like a half of a Telecaster, and I took in one of his concerts actually about a year ago, and he did super well, and it was a lot of fun talking to him. This is a little different because instead of everything going on a horizontal or something, this is like vertical, like any other Hawaiian guitar. Let's make sure this thing is on. And crank it up and let those tubes warm up a bit. And see what we've got. As you can see, here are this is a volume and this is a tone. And they used to use this to boo out the steel guitar. Who knows, maybe it's just the opposite because it's been a while since I've been on this thing. It's a lot of reverb. Proud of that. So at any rate, yeah, this is I'm having to get used to the fret markers on this guitar opposed to my other guitar because this is not color coded, whereas my other steel guitar, everything is white markers and everything is color coded. So we're still having to kind of get used to the are farther apart than on a pedal steel, so you've got you've got some of that happening. But just like the C6 neck always, you can definitely do your reverse slants. So we'll come up with some songs and also on the pedal steel I got 2 more extra strings down here, so I've got I'm getting used to the, because you got to get used to the 8 strings, you got to get used to how far apart they're spaced, and then different little things like this. But this will be fairly straightforward and easy to learn that, or I should say relearn it, because like I said, it's been a while since I've been on one of these bad boys. But this won't take too much time, and now I'm thinking that let's see what we've got here. We've got 2 extra strings here, because see, I've got a 54, I've got a 70, and I'm not sure a 70 would even fit on one of these. For some bass strings, you can create tunings, and that's one of the greatest things about this guitar is all the tunings and experimentation that you can do on it, which is quite almost endless. But we'll see what we can do with one of these. In fact, I'll see what I can do up here. We're going to need a smaller screwdriver for that. Let's see if I have one around here. Take the cover off here. As we're starting to think a little bit more, I guess, about the life and times of Hank Williams, and about the touring schedule. I did check online a little bit to see what I could find out about the touring schedule. Because if I look at the touring schedule, I can tell a lot on the types of pressures or that the band would have been under, or you know, different things. So the Drifting Cowboy Band was Hank Williams' band. I'm sure a lot of you know that. And he had, I don't know who he had playing for him at that time. I take it that it was Don Helms on steel, Jerry Rivers on guitar, Jerry Rivers on the fiddle. So on the fiddle, he would have had Jerry Rivers. On the steel, he would have had Don Helms, which were both excellent musicians for their standards of yesterday and today, really. Those guys really were good players, I kid you not. And at any rate, the thing that I think interests me is that, like I said, is that tour schedule, and what was going on in it and with it, because yeah, we have plenty of enough room here to put some, should we want to play some boomers or do some interesting things with this tuning over here. Okay, wow, how interesting is this? So I can make some fat tones here, and I'm trying to coordinate this thing. So I could have almost a C6 extension of lower tunings on this neck over here, and I could have E9th tuning up here, which I'm almost really wanting to do. I'm really wanting to do that, so yeah, why not? Going back to the Jerry Rivers fiddle player, steel player Don Helms, you had, perhaps, I don't know this for a fact, he had different guitar players. He may have had Sammy Pruitt out there. I'm not for sure about that. On guitar, or possibly not. I don't even know if Sammy Pruitt was touring with him at that point. I'm not, that's not clear to me. But he had, definitely had himself on rhythm guitar. Hank really seemed to play the rhythm guitar, I would say, super good. And I noticed that. I noticed that he, his right hand was really good. Gosh, you have to. You know, you have to really be able to follow through with the rhythm guitar, especially if you're not going to have a drummer. You know, if you're going to be out there without drums, you know, you really need to be able to be a good guitar player. And Hank Williams was a good guitar player. And so he was able to accompany his steel guitarist and fiddle player while they were taking solos, and do it very, very well. Yeah, there was certainly nothing wrong with their playing. Their playing, I always thought, was just superb. You know, you listen to those guys too. They play the same. They are able to play the same thing twice, which is great. They're able to. Where did my? Yeah, here it is, my wire cutter. They're able to play the same thing twice, which in today's standards, show me somebody that can. I mean, really, honestly. Not putting anybody down, just saying, I run into a lot of groups that don't know how to play the melody at all. You know, they're doing whatever they're doing, but they're just not able to do the melody, because, you know, I mean, I have my own theories on why they can't do the melody. Part of it is culture, I think. You know, they didn't grow up where people were forcing them to play the melody. They grew up where, you know, they were able to do a lot of ad-libbing, and which is cool, you know. We can all ad-lib, but I think there also comes a time when you need to be able to play the melody. You need to be able to do it, be able to play the same thing twice. And so that's, to me, important, you know, and that was something that I think Hank Williams' band really excelled in, was being able to reduplicate the sound that they had. Which is amazing, really, when you stop and think about being able to have equipment, maybe PA systems, things in that day and age that just weren't that good, yet that group got that good of a sound live, which they've got some live Hank Williams Sr. stuff on the internet that you guys can listen to on YouTube, and that band sounds really, really good. They sound very, yeah, they're raw. It's raw music, but it's also a polished raw music. They don't take a lot of time in between songs. I noticed that. I noticed they go right from one song to another. There's not a lot of dead mic space. Hank Williams is either talking on the mic, interacting with the audience, using his mic, or they're performing. So there's not a lot of, you know, clowning around like a bar band will do, where they go, what song do you want to do next? What do you want to do next? Do you want to do Tulsa Time? Yeah, let's do Tulsa Time. And they get up there like, almost like Beavis and Butthead. No, let's not do Tulsa Time. Let's do Achy Breaky Heart. And they act like they're at a buffet or something. It's like, I notice that the audience is getting restless. They're starting to go, they're starting to wonder whether the band is ever going to play, or whether they're just going to sit there like that. So that can be challenging for the audience viewing a band that is taking a long time between songs, and a group that just has dead air mic space and is not connecting with their audience. And this happens from time to time in certain venues that I've worked, depending on the band. It can be frustrating for the audience And I'm not going to say I don't sit there and go, my gosh, guys, please let's play another song, you know. And a lot of hemming and hawing. They think it's some sort of a science or something what they're going to play next. And by this time, the audience just wants anything. You know, they just want to be able to either listen to the music, or if you're at a dance hall, they want to be able to dance. If you're at a theater, they want to be able to listen to stuff. You know, although I haven't had any problems in theaters, that theatrics and stuff like that, theaters, I'm not, and if somebody has had trouble in the past, then, you know, if you've had trouble out there, any of you, then, you know, like I said, every situation's different. There's no two situations the same. My own personal thing with this has been, theaters are usually much more organized than a bar band. I tend to think that bar bands are there for other reasons other than maybe serious performing at times. I'm not talking down bar bands because I'm part of that scene. I'm just saying it's weird. And everybody's different, so that there's no two bands. Some bands are very conscientious about this, so I'm not saying all bands are like this, but I'm just saying there are some bands out there that are there to get females, or there are bands that are there to drink, that they want free liquor, which the venues are giving us free everything. It seems like less and less. I mean, they look like they're going to go broke if I have a cup of coffee. But, you know, a long time ago, working, yeah, you could get your Cokes, your pop, 2 drinks a set, maybe even some food, all from the bar, and they didn't quibble over it. There was no quibbling or nothing, no sour grapes over that. They all seem to gravitate or do well to that. So that was cool. You know, being able to do that. But yes, I noticed bar groups, certain people, individuals, whatever, and yes, they have a rough time with this. They have a rough time with going from one song to the other. I kid you not. And that's important, you know. That's really important, to be able to be organized. And Hank Williams' band was extremely organized. I mean, I don't know. He might have been drunk. They might have been drunk. Who knows? Or maybe none of them drank, but except him. And I heard he'd just go through these. You know, he'd be sober and then he'd be completely out of it for a number of days. So it was either one way or the other with him. That's actually what I heard about that situation. But to have organization like that on the stage, from what I viewed of the Drifting Cowboy Band, that's very important, I think, is the, and they had it. I mean, they had it. They had a really good show. And for not having drums, not having anything, and just to have either stand-up bass or just Hank Williams and his guitar and a fiddle player and a steel player, they sounded great. I have played with certain individuals that just had a really good right hand, you know. They could either go like this on the rhythm guitar or like this, you know, not doing little single strings and cluttering everything, but just literally strumming chords and being a real rhythm guitar player, which if you are in a band with that indulges in that, it's going to go good for one of these instruments, because you can't really strum. I mean, it sounds kind of yucky strumming C6, and strumming E9 sounds even worse. But at any rate, now what I need to do with this thing is I've got to get, and I'm looking for, right here, strings, because we're going to need to put another set of strings on the third neck now. Now we've got some low bass strings, and I've got to figure out, maybe make a custom gauge on this neck of different things that I can do with it. You know, I can tune it up and do like a funk thing, as almost an extended C6. So we've got 8 strings here, and it's almost, you're almost going to 9 and 10 right here. So this will be interesting, you know, and I'll be able to make some multiple different tunings, so I can maybe just kind of neck hop from here is the method behind the madness. And then up here, jump up to, which won't take me any time at all, to jump up to E9th and play E9th from this neck. So let's check out these strings, check out this gauge of strings, see what we got going here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we got about, okay, we've got a full pack here, and I'll just start, maybe I'll use some smaller bass strings, because these are packs of 10 that I've had laying around. So maybe this was a 50, maybe I can get a 40 some gauge string up here, and then use these 2 strings in this area here to create another tuning, which will be cool. It'll be its own thing. And yeah. Okay, so if you like what you see, hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. And our next point of attack is going to be this neck right here, to get the E9th tuning up here. So I'm going to have E9th, excuse me, C6, E9, and a bottom half of C6 incorporated with some other things that I'm going to just create and make up, which is going to be fun. I'm going to have a good time on this neck. I think it's just going to be a blast. All right, you guys be good. I'll see you in the next video.